I'm Abby Crotty. I'm the news editor here at PhocusWire, and I am sitting down for an interview with Uli Pillau from Apaleo. Thank you so much, Uli, for taking some time to chat with us today.
Thanks for the invite, Abby, and great to be here today.
Yes, very excited. So, just to get started, kind of an overarching question just for you personally. What would you say have been your biggest learnings as the founder and CEO of Apaleo?
I think putting new technologies onto a market, especially onto the hospitality market, is always a challenge, and it takes longer than you would expect. So I would say with such a big platform we created, and it's a true platform, the development time and time to market is always a little bit longer than what you would think initially when you start a new company. However, once you're established and really make it happen and have good references and hotel groups as clients, it then can go much faster than you would think originally.
Right. And so, as far as technology, obviously AI is the big topic of discussion now. So, how prepared would you say hotels are for this onset of artificial intelligence?
I think when you look out into the industry, and we're spending a lot of times on event and conferences talking to hotel groups and hotels, I think there is a huge interest in AI and how AI could be executed and used in hotels. However, at the same time, hotel industry is always a little bit behind other verticals. So deploying AI has happened in a few cases very well, and there are lots of good use cases already. However, I think it will take a while until really everybody embraces AI. Now, one of the things with AI is really that in today's world and using the capability of today's technology, you can try it out much faster than you would think. So one of the suggestions we always have when we talk to clients, consultants, partners is try it out and don't be afraid. There are so many opportunities today. If you don't start at some point early enough, you'll be falling behind very soon.
Right. So that's kind of the nice aspect of it that you can trial these different aspects, trial and error, things along those lines. But when I was at High Tech last week, there was a lot of discussion about introducing AI at scale. So when do you think hotels will be able to do that? I know you said it might take a little bit longer, but to get to that level, and what might the steps be to get to that point?
I mean, it will go faster than most of the people think today. So we'll see also already this trend all over the place in Europe and in US. People are starting to, and then if they feel that the use cases are working, they can actually deploy it on scale today already. However, still the use cases are relatively limited, which means you have guest-facing use cases and efficiency automation use cases, which work very well. For example, chatbots, or AI REST agents, and some other areas where it works very well. But still, people, I think, are too afraid today to deploy it at scale. They try it out, they test it in one property, in a few properties, but rolling it out is a different story. However, what we see is that actually some of the innovative hotel groups and accounts that are smaller and are taking a little bit more risk in some areas, they are more successful in having deployed already tools on an AI basis.
And why do you think that is? Just because they are kind of smaller in scale and less to manage? Would you say that that would be the main
Uh,
factor?
Exactly. I mean, there are quite some risks with AI, which you have to pay attention to: data security, GDPR compliance, lots of other things where you have to pay a lot of attention to. So a bigger hotel chain might need longer in order to make something happen based on older technology as well. Smaller hotel groups are more innovative in trying out things because they can be more agile. So when you look, for example, at Citizen M, which have 35 hotels, properties worldwide in many different key countries and cities, they are very fast and agile, and they are ahead of the game. So this type of group compared to the big brands has an advantage there, and also because they are deploying modern technology in general much faster to then be able to use AI tools.
Right. And then kind of segueing to another one of the big buzzwords, agentic AI. What new developments are you seeing there, and how do you kind of see it impacting the industry at large?
So I would say in the past, when you look back, let's say over the past 5 to 10 years, people were really restricted in terms of how fast those AI could be developed. So you had startup companies, bigger companies, software companies that were all getting on AI and trying to develop things. However, they were really restricted by the technology. And today, with the modern agentic AI and AI agents, actually anybody can go ahead and develop software pieces on AI in a very fast time. We have seen, and we're not doing AI ourselves, but we obviously, as a platform, allow anybody to develop AI agents on top of Apaleo. We have seen some small companies or even individuals that were able to get things off the ground within a couple of days, develop small tools, then make them bigger and come up with other modules based upon these tools. So I would say agentic AI and the way it works today actually it is much, much faster than we've ever thought. I mean, going even a year back, I would not, or we would not have thought that this, what we see today, is really possible. And we see it in all areas of hotel industry coming on board. But one of the big challenges is that hotel groups and hotels are lagging very much behind in terms of what underlying technology they are using. So the systems that are sitting in silos, all-in-one software pieces, very cumbersome legacy systems really restrict AI to be developed in hospitality.
Right. And so, kind of going off of that in terms of these siloed systems, do you think hotels are interested in introducing and adopting technology? What would you say are the biggest gaps that need to be addressed, especially given, the global turmoil and tech disruption that's kind of ongoing right now?
When you look at AI agents, at least the modern ones which are being developed today, they have a few things they require. First of all, they need open access to data. And now most of the traditional software pieces in the hotel industry are legacy systems that are really don't give access to the data in an easy way. If you want to get access to this data, it takes a long time, it's cumbersome, you don't have access to the full data. And then obviously, if you use really intelligent AI tools, they should be able to execute the results of what they are producing again in the software hotels are using on an ongoing basis in distribution, operations, and other areas. And so I would say 90% of the hotel chains and hotels in this world are not able to provide the underlying platform systems that allow AI agents to be developed very easily and be deployed very easily. And so the time to market is essential here. And the more open a platform or a system is, the easier it is for people to develop and to deploy and execute things.
Right. And then how much technology do you think is too much technology? If we're talking about kind of the slower adoption and things along those lines, but then on the other end of the spectrum, is there a point where it becomes too much when you're running a hotel?
I think it very much depends on what the goals are you want to achieve with your type of property or your type of chain. I would say in five-star deluxe brands, obviously AI could be assisting in automating processes in the background that any AI tool can do for any type of chain or hotel. However, when it comes to guest communications, obviously the deluxe hotels are more service oriented. So the guests, because they are paying a high price, expect to meet people at the hotel level or talk to people and being addressed by people. But I think for any type of chain that wants to be really automated, efficient, or even operate totally staffless, it's a different story. They can actually on both ends, in guest communications and in automation in the background, automate many more things with AI than somebody would imagine. We are having, for example, a client we are working with, which is a hotel group running 150 properties throughout Europe, and all of their properties are entirely staffless. So it's fully automated. They set the expectations right. So their clients know it will be 100% a digital guest journey, and they are paying a lower price, but the product is really good and the guest journey is really good. And if you set the expectations right, I think anybody could use AI in a very positive way, even talking to guests or making AI tools talking to the guests.
Absolutely. That's a very good point about setting expectations. I feel like that's something that's probably a gap. So kind of zooming out a little bit, as far as new initiatives and tech products, is there anything that Apaleo is working on that you're particularly excited about?
I think Apaleo, when you look at us, we are the only not all-in-one PMS in the market. We are a true platform, so our innovation comes really from all of the apps and the modules and components which are being developed by third parties on top of our Apaleo PMS platform. So that essentially means we have 300 apps which have been developed, connected, built on top of Apaleo, including lots of new AI agents. So we give actually the innovation into the hands of the software developers, the innovative companies, the startups, anybody who comes into the hospitality industry, but also obviously the established players, which are all connected to Apaleo. And like this, you can actually drive innovation much faster, have a much faster time to market, because you allow so many people to do the right things, right developments on top of a platform. This is pretty much impossible to achieve if you are an all-in-one system. So we are not in the business of developing apps, modules, components ourselves. We'll totally stay away from this. So when you look at other verticals or industries, you could compare from a technology and architecture perspective Apaleo to a kind of Spotify. So we are out there, we are an open platform, anybody can connect to us and develop us on top of us and offer the services, products, AI agents to any hotel group that wants to use them. And I think that is, when you look at cost and efficiency and also the time to market, a huge advantage, which really drives also our innovation. So when people look at Apaleo, they know we are an open platform and they know we have so many thousands of people that are developing on top of Apaleo for the hotel world. I think that is really the big difference compared to all-in-one PMSs.
Absolutely. And then I was wondering if you could give us a little bit of an update on Agent Hub since its launch earlier this year.
Absolutely. So we came up with this concept earlier. Our architecture at Apaleo is API first. We're the only API first platform for PMS in the industry. And when you are API first, that means 100% of your data, functions, functionality, features can be used by the outside world, by the apps. And the same obviously applies to AI agents. So when you are API first, you are also AI first. So we have put a standard framework in place on ITB in Berlin in March, where from that moment on, we allowed any AI developer, any AI agent to come on board of Apaleo and do their magic on top of the platform. And we published it, initiated it, took it live on ITB, and since then we've seen tons of developers and agents that develop use cases, real use cases on top of Apaleo. And we only believe in real use cases. There's a lot of buzzwords around AI in the industry, and lots of people talk about it. But when we talk AI agents, we want to see them deployed with our client base. So pretty much all of the AI agents that have been developed since ITB, they are running with our client base, at least a few chains, a few accounts, a few hotels in test mode. And there are really some very interesting and innovative new cases out there, which I have not seen myself, and I'm in hotel technology since 20 years, which I have not seen myself working at all. And now they are really there. They are out there with the clients.
Right. And so you're kind of talking about how being API first is kind of addressing a problem or filling a need that's otherwise absent within the industry. But if there was something in the hospitality or in the industry that you would fix or within the hotel tech stack, what would that be?
There are so many things. It would be hard to come up with one specific topic. I think distribution at guest journey in many cases is still a failure. So even when you go to the bigger brands and try to make a reservation, follow the guest journey through, you will always see problems and issues at many points. And this is because the connection between the systems are really broken and don't work very well. So first of all, I would try to fix the guest journey with more innovative platforms and tools and apps. That would be a big thing. But also when you look at the back office at hotels, you wouldn't believe today how much manual work is still involved in the daily processes and procedures. So this is the other area I would attack immediately. Question any procedure which is being done manually in hotels today and see how I can replace them or make them faster via tools like AI agents or automations or no-code, low-code tools.
Absolutely. And so if you weren't kind of pivoting to more of personal questions, if you weren't leading this company, what else would you like to be doing?
I mean, I have still many projects in my life which are outside hotel technology. Um, Most probably, I would be writing some books about everything I've seen over the past 25 years or 30 years in hotel business now. I've been working for some of the big brands before and then made some of the tech companies in our space really big, took them around the world. So there are a lot of nice stories. And the hotel industry is still a people industry. So we love being out in the field, talk to the people, find out what they are doing. And especially when it comes to new hotel projects throughout Europe, but also in other regions, there's a lot of innovation out there, which in many cases is not seen. The big brands are not innovative. They are doing whatever they have always been doing, and it's not really new or nice. This is also the reason why you recently saw acquisitions from Ruby Hotels by IHG or Citizen M by Marriott. Why are they doing this? Because they can't come up with the brands, the guest journey, the technology by themselves, but they really look at these groups and say, wow, there's something out there which the class customers, the hotel guests really love, and it's extraordinary. So following and seeing these new things and concepts really drives us. We travel on an ongoing basis. We go to new hotels. And often what we find there is really fascinating, but it's not so much known to the industries. I would say most probably Citizen M and Ruby over the past 10 years were the biggest game changer, apart from the Airbnbs of this world in many cases.
Right. So you're kind of just touching on this almost, but my final question for you, within your, several decades now of within the hotel, or excuse me, the hospitality industry, what do you know now that you wish that you had known when you started out?
I would say the technology has been evolving so fast, and I would have loved to know 10 years ago where we would stand today. So we could have taken action in many areas much earlier. However, I think what we did right was using an open platform, so which is really future-proof. We have seen this during the pandemic. I would have loved to know what would be coming there, but actually the clients were so agile because they could switch their tech stack around anytime, try out new digital apps, which during the pandemic was absolutely critical for many hotel businesses. So I would say knowing in advance what would happen in travel and hospitality a little bit earlier would be good. But actually, we see this in today's world as well. The industry is changing so quickly with different challenges, and you have to be able to react very fast. So predicting what's happening is very tough, and there are lots of things in technology development I would have loved to know earlier.
Yeah, I think we all would have loved to have that crystal ball, especially around the pandemic with so many different things. But that wraps up everything that I had to ask you. I wanted to thank you again so much for sitting down with me and taking some time to discuss all of these topics.
Thanks so much. It was great talking to you.